Hi, everyone. My name is Laurel Midlar. I'm the head of school for Fraser Valley School, and it's my pleasure to spend a little bit of time with you today, welcoming you back to our community. I wanted to just start, first of all, by going through our mission and vision as a school. And we are a community of courageous contributors. And I really like that word community. That really defines the really special environment in our school. We are a group of people that have common values, and we're aligned in the fact that we want the best environment for our children. So as a community, we share the responsibility of providing a safe environment that values diversity and different perspectives. We also are courageous. And given this time with COVID-19 and the various things we have to navigate, being brave and courageous is a tremendous attribute, not only for us as adults, but we definitely want to nurture that in the children that we have in our care. So our learners are really defined by the bravery of their words, which should be based on integrity, empathy, and respect. We also believe in contribution, and we are contributors and teaching children to contribute in our school. They are problem-solving individuals with the responsibility to share their knowledge and their skills for the benefit of others. Basically, we're just hoping that after spending time in our environment, our students really have not only the desire to make a difference, but almost that inclination to act, to really use their skills and talents and interests to not only make their family better, their school better, but ultimately we have very lofty dreams of making British Columbia even better and Canada better. So that's who we are at Fraser Valley School. We are a community of courageous contributors. So how do we do this? What sort of environment do we have? First of all, we're a school. So it's really important to have strong academics. And we did decide several years ago that using the platform of the International Baccalaureate for delivery of some of our curriculum was a really, really important step. So we are officially recognized as an IB World School, authorized to instruct the primary years program, or otherwise known as PYP. We did that in 2017. And we have been implementing the program very successfully. And we are exploring the candidate process for the middle years program. So I'd like to just introduce to you two of the special leaders in our school. We have a very rich pedagogical leadership team with 5 members on that team. And our vice principal is Miss Natalie Morris. She's also our PYP coordinator, and she also has a role in the library. Miss Veronica Grocott is, she teaches grades 6, 7, and actually 8, and she is our middle years coordinator right now. We're not saying middle years program coordinator because we're not yet at the point where we have submitted our application for the IB program for that level. So I'll be talking about that just shortly, but we do believe that the International Baccalaureate has an extremely well-rounded platform that we use, and it's aligned with who we are as a school. So we are a mission-driven school, and so anything that we utilize for our academics would be aligned with who we are as a school. We do really want to make sure that we adhere to the highest and best standards of practices. So we do believe in formative assessment. We believe in using standardized assessment, so we have a really good sense of where our students are at. And we believe that we're a school of readers. We want our children to be very strong in terms of analysis of written material. So we do a lot of assessment with that. We have a very individualized program for reading to make sure that we're meeting children where they're at. We have online reading platforms as well. And we do strongly participate in the FSA, or the Foundation Skills Assessment. Those assessments are done in grade 4 and grade 7. They provide some very rich data for the school in order to inform our practices. So we strongly believe that that is a good source of feedback for us as educators. I'm sure you're familiar with the Fraser Institute. The Fraser Institute uses the data from the FSA testing. They have an algorithm that they input that data into, and from that, they produce a school ranking. And for several years, we didn't have the population and we didn't have the grade level span in order to obtain a ranking from the Fraser Institute. But in 2017-18, it was our first time to be ranked ever. And the Fraser Institute does a ranking out of 10. And in our very first year, we received a ranking of 8.9 out of 10. And out of the 955 elementary schools in the province of British Columbia, we were ranked as 59th. So for our very first ranking by the Fraser Institute, although that doesn't provide a measure of the entire culture of the school or all the wonderful things that we do, it does assess the school on those foundational skills of reading, writing, and numeracy. So we're quite proud of that rating for our very first year. Another thing that we really strive to implement our school is experiential learning. And the idea is that learning experiences and engagements go way beyond the classroom. And we do have an outdoor education program that we implemented 2 years ago. And there's, you just can't replicate the things that students can learn when they're off in a natural environment. Sadly, last year, due to COVID restrictions, we were unable to go, but you need to know it is really a core. I want to take some time to introduce our faculty to you. And we're very pleased to have a very seasoned group of educators who are highly committed as members of our community, but also really committed to their craft of teaching. In kindergarten, we have two very seasoned teachers who have worked together for several years, Ms. Jennifer Robert-Shaw and Ms. Natalie Davey. You need to also know that we understand the uniqueness of early learners. And we do start our program at kindergarten, and they are very different in terms of their learning compared to even the primary years. So we have experts that have really focused on that uniqueness. I know that they've taken a special course from Harvard, and we're actively working on just really specializing our program to meet the needs of young learners. In grade 1 this year, we have Miss Christy Fox. Ms. Fox is our most seasoned teacher at the school, not in terms of years of experience, but number of years at Fraser Valley. And she's also our academic coordinator. So she does a lot of work to support the teachers in the classroom. Teaching next to her is Miss Chelsea Kemp in grade 1. And Ms. Kemp is newer to the career of teaching, but she has worked for us as a TOC in grade 1 and knows our school really well. And her daughter also attends our school. In grade 2, we have Miss Alana von Eminis, and we also have Miss Jennifer Campbell teaching grade 2. And these teachers have been with us for several years, very excited to deliver the grade 2 program. In grade 3, we have a wonderful team that works very collaboratively together. We have Miss Amanda Martinson, and we also have Miss Mandy Gahab. And they're in a classroom that actually has a wall that can be a shared space. And they are very collaborative, and really some unique activities going on with inquiry and just wonderful learning experiences in that grade 3 class. In grade 4, we only have one class of grade 4. All of the classes I just showed you have double classes. Grade 4 is Miss Kelly Bennett. And in grade 5 this year, we have Mr. McCrimmon. Grade 5 is the last year of our primary years program. In that year, they do an activity called the exhibition, which is a really wonderful culmination, highlighting all of the skills that we're building so hard to develop in the primary years. We then shift to our middle years, which is grade 6, 7, 8. And Miss Veronica Grocott, who you met earlier, is part of our pedagogical leadership team, and she is our grade 6 homeroom teacher. Miss Vasanthi Tharu is teaching this year grade 6, 7, 8 science. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that shift in the middle years, what happens to program teachers. But she's very excited to be back in the capacity of teaching science. Grade 8 homeroom teacher, grade 7, 8 homeroom teacher is Miss Kirby Peters. And she is a person who really has a passion for technology, for coding, for robotics, and mathematics. So she's a lovely fit for that middle years program. We understand that people learn in different ways, and the social emotional needs of students are exceptionally important, especially during this COVID time. There's many, many emotions that children are facing, and quite honestly, some of them are very new and don't know how to navigate this new lay of the land. We have Miss Caroline Poisson, who's back with us. She's been at Fraser Valley for a number of years. She's our learning strategies coordinator, and she sits as well on our pedagogical leadership team, where we meet once a week to really strategize about delivering the best program to our families. We also have Miss Sandra Trianfi, who is a special education assistant. She is in some of our classrooms and supporting all learners, but there are some children that do need a little bit of extra support. That said, we also have some students that need enrichment and challenge, and both of these two ladies really work hard to bring a lot of differentiation to our program. Being an international baccalaureate school, it's really important that we have a second language, and our second language at Fraser Valley is French. We start French instruction at the kindergarten level, and the provincial requirement is that you start French at grade 5. We start in kindergarten, and all students in the school get it 2 blocks per week. That's 50 minutes each. And in the older grades, grade 6 to 8, they get it 3 times per week. So that is Madame Espinosa. The arts are a really important aspect of having a balanced program, and Ms. Rupinder Barnum is our art specialist teacher. All grade levels get 50 minutes each week of performing arts, but in the upper grades, they get 3 blocks a week from Ms. Barnum. Athletics is a really important part of our program, and we believe that balance is essential, and having a love of physical activity and fitness, especially helps your social emotional development as well. And so we have a beautiful gym in our new facility, and we have needed more phys ed instructors. So Miss Lindsay Spence is back from her maternity leave. She is instructing physical education to kindergarten to grade 4. All students in the school get 3 blocks of phys ed per week. That's 50 minutes each, 3 times a week. We did need to hire additional instructors for phys ed. So we have Mr. Tyler McCallion, and he is instructing phys ed. Mr. McCrimmon actually teaches a bit of phys ed, and so does Miss Peters. So we've got a whole lovely athletic team. One of the really wonderful things about Miss Morris moving towards the vice principal position is we were able to actually hire a library technician. And this is Miss Shelby Marshall. She's responsible for cataloging all of our materials in the library. And right now, because of the COVID protocol, we're not having students come into the library or the hub to sign out books, but all of them are able to do it virtually. They can put holds on books through a program we have called Fall at Destiny. And Miss Marshall brings a cart to the classroom. She pulls the books and then delivers them to the students. And then we do have a really good protocol for cleanliness when the books are returned. So that is Ms. Shelby Marshall. We're here to serve you as families, and we do have a number of support people to help the running of our school. So Miss Gayleen Lucas you probably won't see Miss Lucas a lot, but she's the one that handles the finances of our school. If you have any questions about tuition or about our capital campaign program, we'll be able to direct you to Miss Gayleen or myself. We also have Miss Jenna and Miss Linda behind the front desk. We have some plexiglass there now for their protection, and they'll both be wearing masks, but they're definitely there to serve you, and they're just a really great support to our teachers and to our families. I wanted to talk a little bit about the PYP program, just to give you a little bit of background. Once you're an International Baccalaureate World School, the IB does put you on a cycle of evaluations to make sure that you're adhering to the standards and practices and upholding the values of the IB program. So we were authorized in the spring of 2017, and our next evaluation visit is in the year 2021. On that note, the Ministry of Education also does inspections on schools. You're usually inspected every 2 years, and every 6 years there is a very large inspection called the external evaluation, and we're undergoing that this year as well. So I'm just working on getting all the documentation submitted, and that just gives you reassurance as a parent that although we are an independent school, we are affiliated with very credible external bodies who do inspect, and they do scrutinize the practices to make sure that that we are in compliance. And that should give you some real assurance as parents that we like to have external eyes. We like feedback. We want to do the best programming, because when you trust your children into our care, we definitely want to make sure that we are doing the very best for them. So what are we working on right now with the PYP? We have a new platform called Toddle. A number of you are familiar with Seesaw. We have switched to a new platform called Toddle, which is better than Seesaw. You will like that platform. And for us as educators, it actually enables us to do unit planning and report cards. And eventually we'll be able to communicate with you in that platform, very similar to what we are doing with Blooms. Right now we're sticking with Blooms because we started the year that way. Next year, we will do a transition to Toddle. Things that are really important in the PYP are the notion of agency, where students have voice, choice, and ownership. And we are really trying to implement that in terms of how our classrooms are set up right now. In the past, that meant that students could move freely about the room, and there was choice as to what they could be working on. With the model that we've had to set up for safety right now, we are trying to build in that sense of agency, even though currently we're not able to have children move too freely. So we did a workshop on how to bring more inquiry and more agency into the classroom during these unusual times. So that's something we're working on. We're also, as I said, focusing on the early learners. So those kindergarten children and the unique way that they learn is a real priority for us to master and deliver on. The role of the PYP coordinator is they do collaborate with all our teachers. Our teachers have a 1 hour block each week with our coordinator. She's helping them in their understanding of the PYP. The lesson plans are viewed weekly. And the whole idea of inquiry is that the teachers are enabling the students to go through different learning engagements and activities to help them construct or gain their own understanding of the concepts. And it takes a lot of planning. It's easier to give kids information. It's easier to deliver to them exactly what they need to know. But best practices in brain research tells us that if children actually make their own meaning or construct their own meaning, it's with them as a lifelong learner forever. And so our hope is to set up learning engagements for the children to be able to master the concepts through the activities that they do. And that takes a lot of planning. We also make sure that our teachers are properly trained and sent for IB training. And Ms. Morris also gathers a lot of resources for the teacher. So our lovely new storage room is filled with bins that are for each unit of inquiry, and she's supplying many wonderful materials for our teachers. The middle years program, we have prepared our application for candidacy for the middle years program. The middle years program, we are planning to implement for grade 6 to grade 10. And so it is called the MYP. This is a really well-balanced program, and it has 8 core subject areas, which are more aligned with specific subject disciplines. So language acquisition would be a second language French. Language and literature would be very common to what you would know is English. Individuals and societies would be basically your social studies. Mathematics, it's pretty self-explanatory. Design is really technology and construction of unique ideas and innovation. Arts, sciences, it's self-explanatory, and physical and health education. The nice thing about the MYP is that these are all balanced. And so there is not one subject area that has more emphasis than another. We do, as a school, I will tell you, we do teach math every day, and we make sure they have language and literature every day. But the idea for MYP is that it is balanced. It's a balanced program. The core of the program is the learner. We want them to have global context. We want them to really focus on the approaches to learning, which are the skills, the communication skills, the research skills, the thinking skills, the self-management skills, in order to fully develop into the best kind of learner. And it is conceptually based as well. Right now, PYP does transition really nicely into MYP. It shares the same idea of teaching through inquiry. It talks a lot about the learner profile. It embeds the learner profile into everything. It's a really challenging framework for students that are aged 11 to 16. Young learners need those transdisciplinary themes. That's how their brains work and develop best to master concepts. Older adolescent children need those specific subject discipline subjects, and that's how their brains function best. So it is more challenging for them. They can hardly wait to have pure science, to be honest. It does have practical connections in the global world. It is a 5-year program, and it can be adapted. And as I said, it has a balance of different subject areas. It has to be at least 50 hours of teaching time for each subject area, and there are 8 subject groups. And there they are. I talked about them already. And we are heading toward those next steps. So right now we are in the primary part of that middle years program. We have the candidate, it's an application for candidacy. It is ready. Once you apply for candidacy, you have 1 year before you're evaluated. And as a school, we're just strategically planning when we want to submit that. Given COVID and a little bit of the uncertainty, we are just holding off until we're a little bit more certain of what the day-to-day instruction is going to look like for our students. That said, this year, 2021, had a very unusual start. But what I will say has not been unusual or will never change is the fact that in our school, it is our every intent to know your children and let them know that they are cared for. And that's why we have so many trusted adults in our school. And that's why we do spend a lot of time making authentic connections with your students, or with your children, with our students. So it is, we are mission driven, and we really adhere to those important values of community. Right now, I would like to introduce you to our board chair. Jim Gilliland has been serving Fraser Valley School as long as I have been here. He's joining me from his office in Vancouver. Everything that our board of directors does is done on a voluntary basis. They believe in the school, their children attend our school, and they use their skills and talents to forecast the long-term growth of the school. So I'm going to turn things over to Jim Gilliland right now, and he's going to talk a little bit more about the mission vision of the school and the importance of community. So over to you, Jim.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I was just going to spend a few minutes and talk about the role of the board for Fraser Valley School, as well as some of our key priorities and for 2021, and some of the ways that parents can contribute to the school. So just stepping back in terms of the role of the board of directors, Fraser Valley School and the School Society is a not-for-profit, so very similar to United Way or Red Cross or any of the other not-for-profits. Our goal as a charitable organization is the education of our students, and the role of the board is really to ensure the long-run stability, the financial viability of the society so that we can fulfill the needs of our current students, as well as future students and hopefully our children's children. Part of the role of the board is to select and support the head of school. We're very fortunate to have Ms. Middlear as our lead, to establish and clarify what the mission of the school is, so what we are about, to assess the performance, making sure that we are making progress on each of our goals, and then to ensure the policies, the procedures are in place so that we are as safe an environment for education as we can be. And then finally, our perspective is really much more long-term. So we don't get involved in any of the operational decisions. Those are fully within the remit of Ms. Miller. Our focus is really the long-term financial viability, tuition policy, and most important, facilities, which I'll talk a little bit about at the end. As part of the board governance, we do have a strategic plan. It's something that we created in 2017. It's an open document. You're free to view it. And we organized our key objectives around 6 core principles. And these are articulated on this slide. I think probably the easiest is to get a copy of the strategic plan and to go through it. But I thought I might touch upon some of the areas we identified for 2020 and 2021. So as part of our strategic planning process in mid-August, we met for a full day. And we use that as an opportunity to map out the progress we've made since 2017 and to ensure that we are continuing to move forward on each of these core areas. So to give you a sense of some of the goals we have for 2020 and 21, in terms of ensuring that we have the most competitive environment and that we're a school of choice for faculty, one of our key focuses over the last several years is ensuring that both salaries and benefits for our faculty are consistent with public schools. That wasn't necessarily the case in the past with the school, but we've made significant strides on that. And so our focus for the next year is really much more around professional development, making sure that the educational opportunities are available for our faculty so that they can be lifelong learners just as much as our students are. On the facilities, it's really a focus on developing our long-term facility plan. So the new space that Ms. Millard discussed is a great step forward for us. It gives us 13 classrooms, a lot more control over our environment so that we can have it as safe as possible. But it also doesn't allow us to continue to grow. And as we move into middle school and eventually into high school, we will need additional facilities. And so a lot of the focus on the board as it relates to facilities is ensuring that we can secure land and eventually build out the type of facility that we'll be able to support each of our educational objectives. On the academic side, our focus is really broadening the use of technology and ensuring that we have the appropriate laptops and iPads available for our learners. On the leadership, we've broadened out the leadership opportunities within the faculty under Ms. Middlear. On the board side, it's really looking to broaden the parental involvement in the governance of our school. And we're doing that through establishing various subcommittees. And so you'll see things coming out, providing opportunities to volunteer. And I'll talk a little bit more about that shortly. On the community side this is recognizing this is a really challenging time to build community, to get people together. You need to do it in a safe way. And so really looking for opportunities that allow us to come together while remaining apart. And then finally, on the finance side, what we try to do is address our tuition to really ensure the financial viability of the school. And what that means is tuition increases that are broadly in line with what's negotiated in public school teaching grids. And that as those move up, then we anticipate our tuition increasing as well. We're also starting to build some financial resilience through the Campus Capital Program. It's something that you'll hear more of, but it's an opportunity for parents to be able to contribute to the growth of the school and to contribute to the development of our faculty and our facilities and our land through a program where parents provide capital to the school that we are able to utilize while their children are at Fraser Valley School. So you'll hear more about that in the days ahead as we continue to build out our campus capabilities. In terms of community building, there's various ways of contributing, and studies have shown that students, when they see their parents volunteering or when they see adults volunteering for their education, that they have better education outcomes themselves, that they value the education more. And there's various opportunities such as school events, pancake breakfast, there's sports days, scholastic book fairs. There's also external community building events, so community cleanup days, Halloween parade, Christmas concert at the retirement home across the street, as well as fundraising opportunities. And I'll talk a little bit about some of those opportunities. In terms of getting involved in it, really think of kind of 4 key areas that you can contribute. Part of it is your time. So if you have an opportunity to volunteer in any of those activities, we very much appreciate it. Part of it can be a particular skill. So you might have a technology background, you might have a building background, an HR background, any type of skill set that you can bring to bear. Obviously, my background is focused on finance, but we have individuals that contribute with legal backgrounds, education backgrounds, being able to provide for the school and ensuring that we are able to deliver the best education opportunities for for our learners. Another opportunity is networking. So you might not have that skill yourself, but you might know individuals that can help. For instance, on the land side, there might be individuals within your social network or within your professional network that would be able to source land or are aware of land opportunities. Definitely bring those forward. And then the final area that you can get involved is through donation. As I mentioned, we're a not-for-profit society. Every resource that has been provided for the school, all of the teacher salaries and expenses of the school are borne either by our parents or through fundraising. And so, there are opportunities to contribute, and those are really important to ensure that we can offer as rich a academic environment as possible. In terms of the fundraising component, there's various initiatives that you'll see over the school year, such as the Hot Lunch Program, Lunch a Lunch, the Not So Silent Auction. We have various recycling programs that are on. The reason we do these things is just to ensure that we can provide for all of those additional resources that aren't a core part of delivery of our academic program. And to give you a sense of what that breaks down for a year such as 2019, you'll see that we raised over $100,000 from the parents and friends of Fraser Valley School. Over 90,000 of that was raised through the Not So Silent Auction, and that was used to support the playground that you see in the south parking lot. In the past, we've also had other programs that have contributed, such as the poinsettia, the parent pub night, the recycling program. All of these are very important in terms of giving us the resources to be able to deliver for our students. Where do those funds go? Ms. Millar mentioned the Destiny Follett Library cataloging system that was paid through parent contributions. We are very fortunate to have a laptop program that extends right through throughout the school for the upper grades. That was also paid for through parent donations, various software programs, robotics, the projectors that you see, and as I mentioned, the playground as well. All of these go a long way in terms of enriching the environment for our children and our students. And then I'm just going to close with plan for the future. We are committed to growing out through to grade 12 and through graduation for our current grade 6 class. We want to do it deliberately, so building one additional grade per year, so continuing to add as our school continues to grow. But given the size of the facility at Jericho, we will need additional space, and that requires the purchase of not just land but also building facilities. So over the next several years, you're going to see a lot of focus on helping support that development of the school. Eventually, we would like to be able to consolidate the school onto one property. There will be a time period, most likely, where we'll be having to operate out of two facilities. In terms of what we're looking for and what we're actively pursuing is land with a minimum of 5 acres. Each of the opportunities we've looked at are within 10 minutes of our current area. We've looked through the location of each of our families, and we want to make sure that the commute is not significantly worsened for any families. Our preference is for something that is zoned institutional, or at least is supported by township to be zoned institutional. And most importantly, in terms of the prices, we're very committed to ensuring that our school is accessible. And the way that we do that is being very diligent and very focused in terms of where we spend our money. And so when it comes to land, we're also focusing on opportunities that cannot be used in other areas. So if a certain parcel of land can be redeveloped as multifamily, it's clearly going to come at a price point where we don't want to have the school have to support that type of price. So we have various opportunities that we're looking at, and that's why moving forward on the Campus Capital program is so important. It's an incredibly exciting time for the school. We have over 200 learners that are entrusted with us, and in terms of our board's commitment, it is to ensure that tuition remains affordable as possible. As I mentioned in one of our communication, over $9,000 of the tuition goes to teacher salaries and administrative salaries. So this really is supporting the individuals who are providing that learning. We are committed to a rigorous IB education. Ms. Millar talked about how important that was. And most importantly, we're committed to a supportive community, that learners do better when there's more individuals that are helping support them. And that is through providing an environment where students can grow, where they are known, they're cared for, and they care for others within that community. So at that, I just wanted to close by mentioning this year looks different. It looks quite a bit different for all of us. But despite that, I think we're in a exceptional position to be able to continue to support the growth of our school and to be able to build the opportunities for our students and our children so that they can continue to advance their education. So thank you.
I just want to thank you as well for spending time with Jim and I this afternoon as we've kind of gone through an overview of welcoming you back to Fraser Valley School. I want to reiterate again that our board is a working board. It is comprised of parents and it's all voluntary. And I'm sure you can attest to the incredible insight and talent that has gone into developing the mission and vision of our school and the strategic direction of our school. So I just want to thank Jim Gilliland one more time. Thank you for joining us. And again, to all of you parents, we are so pleased to welcome your children back into our new facility. You are trusting us. And I will say that this year, that means more to me. And I take the responsibility of having your children here under my care more than I ever have. So thank you for your support and thank you for your feedback. And we will continue to communicate with you as much as we can. And you are amazing partners with us on this journey with your children. So welcome back to Fraser Valley School. And please don't hesitate to reach out to us for any reason at all. Thank you. And we'll see you in person over the next few days.